Carl and Damon here from Games, Brains and Headbanging Life, gbhblofficial for short, and it's Let's Talk About the Games that we've been playing recently. You know how we like to do this effectively. Well, roughly once a month, twice if we've done a fair bit or played a fair bit in that space, but mainly once a month. Reflect on what we're currently playing, talk about the games that we're enjoying, achievements, completions, and all the elements around that. Since we last spoke, I've finished about 2 weeks worth of annual leave off work, where rather than invest my time in a number of games, I basically invested it in mostly one game only, and it is now the second highest game of hours I put into.
Elden Ring?
No, Elden Ring I've done ages and ages ago, and I am kind of playing my way slowly through the DLC. I'll talk about the DLC in a minute, and why perhaps I'm not kind of vibing with it as well as I wished as I could have, as much as I would have hoped. But yeah, my record is, for the most hours in a game I put into it, Elden Ring is number 1. Red Dead Redemption 2 is now number 2, and third is Skyrim. So yeah, it's been Red Dead Redemption 2, and kind of carried on where I left off from there, where basically I became, I call it obsessive if you want. I became obsessive with not trying to 100% that game. Because of the online stuff, I think it's unlikely that I'm ever going to do that. I've looked at them, I've even started it, but I'm not entirely sure after the amount of time I put into the single player, if I have the investment to work my way to level 50 and stuff like that. Yeah. I'm not sure. It was really kind of freeing to step away from Red Dead Redemption 2 after I effectively did. So what I ended up doing was everything in single player. Everything in the single player is done, including the 100% one. To complete the entire single player 100% and is a massive task. It's what takes so long. But goddamn is it enjoyable. It's a really enjoyable achievement to work towards, and it's a really satisfying one to get as well.
I've not played 1 or 2 yet.
They're there to be played.
I know.
You know,
they're still so popular.
Yeah, I mean, Red Dead Redemption 2 is, to me, one of the best games ever made. It is one of the best games ever made. It's simple as that. You know this, I know that. It's as simple as that. But yeah, I spent so much time I would spend hours just trying to get one part of the counter to go up because I was hunting a specific type of bird or doing a specific challenge. But here's the thing, as frustrating as it could be at times, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I really did. And when I got that 100% and realised, oh shit, I was like, oh, that's it. Like, that's it.
Did you feel the low, like, oh, what do I do now?
Yes and no. Because it wasn't the same as like the story had been completed a long time ago. I'd finished all those elements. I'd done all of that way before this. I was satisfied. But I was also like, oh shit, I can go do something else now. Like, it was a little bit of freedom, because problem was, whenever I was playing Xbox, whenever I was like, I'm going to play a game, I'd always be like, well, just jump on Red Dead and do another section of the 100%. And then the time would fly by and I wouldn't play anything else. Yeah. So suddenly I felt free, which is a crazy thing to feel. And I was like, okay, you're free now. Go play something else. Think about doing like the online, but for now, like, don't worry about it. Yeah. Now, since then, I've jumped online occasionally once or twice, but I've not done loads. And truth be told, the motivation isn't there.
Is the online still packed? Is that all?
I'd be honest, I haven't, because it's a story. It's still an online story and all that.
Oh, so it's not like joining a multiplayer game, like, you know, like...
It is, but you've got to get through, like, a certain section of the game before it opens up. Yeah. I've not got that far yet. I did the whole design my character, do the first couple of missions, you know, and build, like, that sort of stuff. The thing is, I don't have the same level of motivation. And admittedly, like, I'm not, I'm going to put it, like, I suspect that, I reckon, next time we do this, I'm going to turn around and either say, one or two things going to happen. Oh, I'm obsessed with it. Yeah. Or I'm going to say, I've uninstalled it. Yeah. And I've walked away from it and I've said, you know what, that's good enough for me. Yeah. I've done all the single player stuff, thoroughly enjoyed it, but I'm not going to do much in the way of multiplayer. We shall see in that. But yeah, so that's the big one I've been doing. Yeah. So yeah, you got...
Yeah, I mean, mine's kind of in reverse, you know, obviously, because I just recently moved, and I've had no internet for about a week and a half, and I lost all interest again in the Xbox for playing games, and I couldn't get that feeling back. And then when I finally started playing again, I looked at my game list and I thought, I can't be bothered starting these big games.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find a small game, a game which got me excited to play it again.
Yeah.
And I find a game which I loved.
Cool.
It's called, I'm probably going to say the name wrong, The Last Technical Remastered.
The Last Technical.
Yeah. The Last Tentacle.
I think I vaguely remember that.
The Day of the
Day of the Tentacle.
Day of the Tentacle. Sorry, the Day of the Tentacle. Sorry.
A Double Fine. It's a Double Fine game. Yeah.
What an absolute fun, lovely game that was. Easy completion. 2-3 hours for like 48 achievements, which is a lot to do. But literally, you're popping achievement every 2 seconds.
Yeah.
But
point and click game, isn't it?
Yeah. But it was just like such a fun game, and it gave me the motivation to then move on to my next big game. So but easy completion, very fun. It's so obvious too. Like half of the achievements. There's nothing really grindy wise. You got obviously save and select chapters, so it's no missable achievements. Yeah.
I haven't actually played the remastered, but I have played the original. That's the thing. It's an old game, so I do know it quite well. Before we get the big one, I'm going to throw a couple out in quick succession that were basically just completions or tidies up. So I want to give a massive shout out to the gamer who messaged me out of the blue and said, "Hey, I've seen that you've asked for help with the South Park game." Yeah. And we took like 2 weeks to finally connect up. It took all of a minute, 2 minutes. Massive shout out to that dude. Thank you so much for helping me. That was super cool. South Park Snow Day is complete. My advice to everybody, I've uninstalled it, but if you feel free, I can reinstall it. I do think it's the right thing to do if you desperately need someone, because it's a dead game. It's a dead game and you will not get this by random. You won't. There's not enough people playing it. It's too fucking difficult as well, because it's not just join a game, it's start a mission. That's the extra caveat. So if you ever play it, bear in mind I do have it. I can reinstall the game.
How old is that game?
Less than 6 months.
It's
because it's shit.
It's 80% sale. I saw it. I thought that for a game that quite new, 80% sale is a massive drop.
Thing is, it's an easy completion outside of this, but you have the benefit of now having a family member who actually has it. So if you do ever decide to pick it up, I am warning you, it's terrible. It's a terrible South Park game. You want to play a good one? Go play the Stick of Truth or the Fractured Butthole, and ignore South Park Snow Day. If they do DLC for it, I'll be so angry because they don't deserve it. Absolutely not. Randomly, a load of these old games got to either found a way or agreed something. Microsoft basically to add new achievements to their games. These are some of these easy game completions that you might have heard of. I've had a few in the past. So, One Step After Fall, that trash got an additional load of achievements, knocking its gamer score up to 5,000. Do you know how long it take you to get a 5,000 in that game? 20 minutes. The entire 5,000. Just follow a guide online, you'll have all 5,000. I'd already done it up to the last 4,000. Yeah. Now it got an additional load as well. Zombie Derbies all got additional achievements this week as well. So Zombie Derby got another, that knocks it up to 4,000. Zombie Derby Pixel Survivor got another 1,000, that knocks it up to 5,000. And Zombie Derby 2 got another as well, that knocks it up to 5,000 too. I have done Zombie Derby 1 and Pixel Survivor. Zombie Derby 2, is it just me, or is the extra achievements not really fucking hard? It's complete levels on extreme mode. It's so precise that I actually am struggling to do it. So I'm like really annoyed about that. So there are other ones I've done perfectly fine.
Come on, Vampire Survivors, we need the next DLC.
No, that's fucking good though. That's the difference.
Yeah,
they're not adding DLC. What they're doing, so like, I'll give you a basic example. Zombie Derby Pixel Survivor. I loaded it up.
It didn't pop straight away.
Didn't have to do anything because the 5 things I needed to do for those achievements, I'd already done in the game.
That's so piss poor, man.
Because they're not adding anything new. The same with One Step After Fall. Now, One Step After Fall is quite famous. I don't know what happened, but at the time it got the ire of Microsoft because what the guy was doing, or the guy I believe behind it was doing, was he basically was re-releasing the same game but in different languages.
Oh yeah, I remember you said something.
Yeah, quite outrageous and stuff like that. But like for example, One Step After Fall, the game itself was only like 50 minutes long. The actual story and all that. The new 5 achievements were like, okay, basically things that you've already done in the story, just do them again.
Are you paying for the DLC or is it free DLC?
Oh, this is all title updates, all free. Okay, these are all free. None of this is paid for. The same with the Zombie Derby stuff or whatever. But yeah, with Pixel Survivor, like with Zombie Derby 1, I had to do something I had to play a certain thing in the game to unlock them. Obviously, Zombie Derby 2, I have to play certain levels to do it. But yeah, Pixel Survivor, as soon as I started it, I went, huh? And it was just like that. It was done. Yeah, like, so nothing really to shout about there. The only one before, because I actually have got a few more still to talk about, but I want to mention Hidden Cats in New York. Have you played any of the Hidden Cats game? I kind of love these games.
Is that like the big cat in the city game? Is it that?
I don't think so, no.
No, I haven't played as well.
No, these are like £2.49 games, and they're basically like a Where's Wally with cats. So it'll be like, here's a massive picture, and you've got to find the cats hidden around, and as you find them, they colour in, and stuff like that. So, super relaxing, super chilled, super easy to play completions. I've played a few of them. Hidden Cats in New York is the latest one I've just played. There's still Hidden Cats in Rome I haven't played yet. But because they're super cheap, I've got a lot of love for them. You know what I mean? Like that. So that's another one I completed. So yeah, you can go. You go now before I go to some of my others.
But before I go into my big one, I'll go to the DLC I've been playing on.
Right, cool.
So Civilization 6 with its 50 million DLCs.
Yeah, Civilization 6, yeah.
So because I had 30 achievements out, it's 97, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I just decided, I bought a pack, it was like 20 quid for all the DLCs. But it was on sale. But, well, my God, the description for the achievements are so fucking ridiculous. I've got them all apart from one. And even you're going through achievements, and even the people who've got the achievements, even they're bloody confused. Everyone's got a different idea of how it's got to be done. I've tried it about 30 times, spent 7 hours doing one game. It didn't pop. It's just such an annoying achievement. And every guide I've read out, it's all 30 different ways of doing it. The people who have done it, they're saying do it this way. I've tried that way, it doesn't work. And it's just so flipping frustrating. But it's still a good game. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Huh. It's my type of game, but I just really don't like developers who it reminds me of Call of Duty back in the day. You know, here's the game, and a week later, here's 40 DLCs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it just really.
Yeah, I get why they've done them, and I understand completely as well at that. But yeah, I've heard a lot of confusions around them. I'm unlikely to ever really play those games. I think because there's so much content, I'm not sure I would have the investment or willingness to do
This
it.
will be my last one. I think I've played like 3, 4, 5, and now 6. Well, I say that, but
That's what I'm saying.
It's my type of game. I love those games.
As I'm saying, you'll be annoyed with it, but it's like any pain. Like you'll forget it 6 months down the line and play another. You know, because the joke is right. When he goes to his big one, pretty sure he said he wouldn't be doing this anytime soon. But there we go. Right, before we, I'm just going to fly through the other ones that I've done, and then we can end in your big one. So Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game. When I saw this was coming to Xbox, I was so fucking excited. Obviously a big fan of the film. Overrated as fuck, but still big fan of the film. And I'm a big fan of these team online games. So I'm a huge fan of Friday the 13th. I think it's still the pinnacle of all these games. I am a fan of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm not 100% sold on that one because at least the last time I played it, the fact that they wouldn't let you start a game with AI and it meant that you had to have full teams or people on the teams was a problem. Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game has the same thing where you need to have a certain number, except this. They put bots in.
Okay.
So I've actually started a game where there was no other human players. Like, thank you. God damn, how simple is it?
That's absolutely perfect, yeah.
And then people were joining as I was playing the game. Look, it's not great. It has big problems. I think the human side is really confusing and difficult to play as. The first game I played, it was humans, and I was like, the fuck am I doing? What am I doing? And I was like, okay, it's similar to Texas, it's similar to Friday the 13th. You got to find things and all that. Today, every time I played humans, I have not even come close. I've escaped once, but it was only because somebody else activated the bolt. But I've found weapons, I've found items, I've been able to fight with clowns, but I've never been able to find anything that would help me, like escape. I know it's random and I know how that works, and it's totally fine. Whereas the clowns, I've had a blast playing as the clowns. A lot of fun. I've unlocked tons of achievements in it. The fact that it looks like the game's going to dry up really quickly. Like the fact that I ended up in a game the other day with no humans, and then when only 2 humans joined throughout the entire thing, says to me, it's not going to take long for this game to be dry.
If you get bots, that doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's what I work, because actually, weirdly, in the bot game, I unlocked more achievements than I had at any other point, because I was wrecking the bots, naturally.
That's it, yeah.
So I mean, but I love these type of games. I do think the pinnacle, excuse me, is Friday the 13th, and this is not Friday the 13th, But it's a fun thing to have, and I want to see more of these classic horror movies being turned into these multiplayer online games because they're sold as that. That's the thing, is I didn't buy this game expecting a big single-player experience or things like that. It was sold as such. So I know what I'm getting into. More than happy with it. Bee Simulator. First off, right, you are taking the piss with the word simulator. Bees don't talk. Bees don't communicate with squirrels. Bees don't fly around through racetracks. It's not a simulator. Just call it the bee game. The word simulator is doing some heavy lifting. Honestly, I started off thinking this was a fun game to thinking I hate this game. So I think it's fun. I think it's fun because it's very simple to play, very easy to understand, and very okay to complete. Provided you can deal with the amount of glitches, bugs, and dodgy achievements it's got. And it has them all. So first off, what's really annoying is the repetitive nature of everything. Oh my god, I think I wanted to cry by the end by the amount of different fights / dances I had to do. And they're not complicated, but they're boring. But then on the flip side, you've got the really, what I think is complex races, because the game's controls and how it works with speed is not good. So the races are actually quite annoying and difficult to do. Then you've got the random fact that while the map isn't very big, there is no map to look at. So you kind of just need to remember where things are.
Yeah.
Elements like that. You've got a decent radar that works fine for the main missions, but will only show you the side quests and challenges when you're near them. So like there'll be nothing on your radar, and then and then you'll go somewhere and it'll be like, oh, now they're on my. It's gonna be like, oh my god. And I get why, because the radar's like a thing at the top, and had everything appeared in it, you'd have been struggling to work out where anything was. Yeah. I get why. So the story of Bee Simulator, you could actually complete speedrun in about 20 minutes. That's how short it is. Yeah. It really fucking is. And then it's all the challenges and side quests and stuff like that. And it's really, really mostly quite easy stuff. But I had a number of glitchy achievements. None more so than the find the bees. And like these are like, I actually use a guide for this because it's 10 sets of bees hidden around this world. And they're worse than the challenges. You need to be practically on top of them for them to appear on the radar. Yeah. But visually, the game's so ugly, they're hard to identify. That I got to 8, then I got to 10, and it didn't unlock. I had to redo the last 2 in a separate save game file. Now, thankfully, the feats, because it's basically in-game they're called feats, and they're tied to achievements, do exactly the same thing. And the in-game and the feats weren't changing, weren't going up. But like, if you start a new game on the same save file, all the feats you've done are still done. It carries over. That carries over. Yeah. And because of the main story is so quick to complete, it was very easy just to restart it. Yeah. But like, I remember I was at like 48 out of 50 feats. I restarted the game because to unlock something else. And then I went back to like 41. I had to do several of the same side missions I'd previously done for some reason.
So like it didn't even register that it even started?
But it did, because it gave me the achievements. Oh, but the feats weren't counting. And then, of course, there's the fly 10 kilometres one, which is always annoying to see. Yeah. Now, it isn't that long in the game, except for one problem. I got to like 6,000 and stopped going up. And I was like, why? And I found out online it's because I started a new save game file. Because what it didn't tell you was that needed to be done in one session, one file.
One session, shit.
Right, some people say session, some people say file. I decided to not risk it, and I just did it in one session.
Just to be safe, yeah.
Just to be safe. And then there's the collect 3,000 pollen, which is just long-winded. I have a video going up on the YouTube channel. It might actually have gone up by the time this goes out, I'm not sure. That shows you what I consider to be the best glitch in the game. I got out of bounds. So the game's got boundaries, of course. Yeah. Like you fly into these invisible walls. I, in an attempt, to be smart, went so high in the sky. And what I was trying to do was, I figured if I went high in the sky, I would see the whole map area, and that it would maybe bring things up on my radar quicker because it was smaller on the map. Anyway, it didn't work that way. But what ended up happening was, because he obviously hit a roof as well, but I somehow managed to find a gap between the wall there and the roof there, and went out of bounds towards a city that popped into existence, flew through the buildings to nothingness. I've got a video of that. It's quite spectacular to look at. I managed to get out of bounds in that game. I was quite proud of that. I would advise you, don't play Bee Simulator, because the joke is, it's not good enough or fun enough to warrant all these little bugs and issues. And it's all doable, but it's frustrating after a while.
Is it a new game? Is it all?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so.
I ain't going to go past them.
Unlikely. I mean, I'm not sure. There's so many simulator games. I mean, Power Wash Simulator. I don't play it. My wife plays it on my account. She loves that game. It released another DLC pack, Alice in Wonderland stuff. So she's quite happy, and she's happy enough. That game stays completed because she always does it for me. What else have I been doing? Willy's Wonderland, the game. The film Willy's Wonderland, you've seen it? Nicolas Cage fighting basically a version of Five Nights at Freddy's. But came out before Five Nights at Freddy's. He's a janitor who doesn't speak, and he beats up animatronic toys. It's a beat 'em up, a 2D beat 'em up where you play as either the janitor or girl character. I guess she's from the film, and you basically it's like Streets of Rage, side scroll, beat a boss and all that. Hated it. Took me, huh? Oh yeah, it took me like an hour and a half. Would have taken me less had I known that I could do power-ups via certain buttons. So basically, I got stuck in a level, and I couldn't beat it. I kept losing all my lives, and the boss was too hard, and I'm just like, oh my god, what the hell? Like, what am I going to do? And then I remember I went looking in the controls, because I couldn't work out, right, on my power meter, like, I have these special moves, but I was noticing the word fun kept kind of like building up, like powering up. Like after I was attacking people, they'd get more full. And I was like, what does that do? So I went into the controls menu and then saw that combinations of buttons gave me, improved my damage by 50%, gave me a health boost and all that. And after that, and like it has the whole complete achievement-wise, complete the game with both characters. And there's about 6 levels and an end boss. Complete the game with both characters, so it shouldn't take that long. It takes even less. Complete the game with 1, all the levels stay unlocked. Finish the last and finish the end boss with the second. Finish the end boss with the second character. Job done. Made it a hell of a lot easier. Cool. So there you go. What else? Blade Runner Enhanced Edition. I've looked at this in a while. It's an old game point and click based on a Blade Runner franchise. I knew it was a remastered version, and it was done by Night Dive Studios, which is the ones behind Shadow Man and all of that. So I figured it was going to be definitely worth playing. I read up about it beforehand, so what my criticisms are forgivable. So from what I gathered, the source code for this game was lost. So they had to rebuild this from pretty much nothing. And because of that, it suffered because of that. For example, you know the whole graphical change that you do in these games where you see the old and the new? I sometimes think the old graphics look better than the new. Like sometimes I think they do. I think they've got, like the new ones are really smooth, whereas the old ones, it kind of feels like vibes. It's a point and click game based within the Blade Runner universe. I find it very confusing. I am using a guide, because I wouldn't know what the fuck to do half the time. Too many areas to go. Too many things I can't work out what I'm supposed to talk to. Like, there's no, like, you know when you talk to a person, for example, and normally it'll have, it'll come up at the bottom what you can talk to them about. That's not how it works here. Instead, it's like, you just keep talking them over and over again until you run out of things to say. And it can be very confusing about that. The puzzles I don't really get. The picture aspect confused me so much. Zoom in this square, nothing's happening. And it's like, you got to be so precise to make it work.
Oh, that's,
But I love how it looks. I love how it sounds. I love the vibe. I love the Blade Runner universe. I do love Blade Runner the movie, you know. So I'm not sure I rate this, if I'm honest. And last but not least, Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition. As soon as I saw this, I was like absolutely over the moon to play this again with new achievements. I think we've all been ripped off a little bit, if I'm honest. I don't know how they think this is okay. All they've done is it's a re-release, smoothed out, better graphics, HD, all that. It looks better. It does. There's new achievements, but I'm puzzled as to what. Right. So has anybody else suffered the thing that it can't just be me, right? The game takes forever to load up. Like, to the point where I thought for the first couple of times I played it that the game was dodgy. It takes about a minute to get into the main menu. And I closed the game down the first time because I was like, well, it's clearly frozen. Now I know I just have to wait a long time. After that, it's fine. Like, the loading times in the games and all that are perfectly fucking fine. But my God, what on earth? Do you know why it is? It's because it's trying to load up fucking Ubisoft Online. Because as you play the game, as well as unlocking achievements, you'll unlock Ubisoft Online awards and stuff like that. I just keep ignoring them. I'm not clicking on your stupid goddamn reward system. I'm not getting involved in your nonsense. Because it's never going to be worth it, guys. Go fuck yourselves. But right now I haven't experienced enough of it to know. I know I know there's new stuff in the game. I know there's a treasure hunt, for example, and I know there's an option called Play Speedrun Game in the main menu, which intrigues me as well. So I know they've done stuff to it. Other than that, it's beyond good and evil. It's an incredible game.
Yeah.
It still is. It holds up. I love it. More than satisfied playing it. Yeah. And I think that's what I'm... Yeah, that's it. That's everything. That's everything I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean...
Sorry, I've got one more because it's not Xbox. No, you go and do a big one because mine's a big one too.
I mean, other than my big one, I completed the last Yakuza game I was talking about, the Gaiden. I've now started another one.
Oh, you've seen the trailer for the show?
I have seen the trailer,
Yep.
and I'm skeptical about it.
Okay.
But we'll get to that at some point, I'm sure.
Of course.
But I've started another Yakuza game, which is now a prequel to number one. Sorry, it's a prequel to Zero, but based 100 years before it. Not enjoying it.
Okay.
Not enjoying it because it's completely different, obviously completely different style. But I've only put about 10 minutes into it, but we'll get to it. Still doing my daily tasks in a little to the left.
Okay.
I'm up to 87, so we've got 13 more to go.
Wow, almost done.
Yeah, so that one was done. But then now obviously the big game. So Fallout 4.
Yep.
So considering like a year ago I hadn't even touched Fallout at all, and then because of the series coming, I've now obviously played 3, New Vegas, obviously Shelter, and now 4. Yeah, absolutely loving 4. Graphics are 10 times better. It's a lovely game. It's beautiful. I'm only about maybe 3-4 hours into it. Said I've only just joined the Brotherhood, but absolutely loving the game. Yeah.
It's more Fallout, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously I know it's going to be a 60 to 80 hours game.
Maybe longer. You'll say it depends how quickly you get through certain things. You know, obviously when I talked about it a few months back, I warned you about the Nuka World DLC and things like that. Good luck with that. But there you go. Last but not least, Nintendo Switch, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I love the Luigi's Mansions franchise. The first one I've got a lot of nostalgic love for. The second one, which I played at the time on the DS, I thoroughly enjoyed. And the third one, the most recent one on the Nintendo Switch, is the best Luigi's Mansion to date. I love the games. So when they announced that we're going to re-release number 2 in HD, but on the Switch, I was like, great, fantastic, because it was only available on the DS. So this at least got it to a bigger audience, and it is great. It is wonderful. It's a really interesting game as well because it shows the advancement from the first game, but also it's not quite at the level of the third game, so it slips in right in the middle for me. It probably is a little bit too talky, for example, and a little bit too restrictive in certain areas. I do think it's got a really bad habit of just going, all right, we're going to interrupt your gameplay for another talk with the professor, or you've done this thing now, you're getting pulled out of the level no matter what. You don't get, that exploration. And it's got a weird replay thing where it's like, okay, you've done this, now you can go back to that same level and collect the boo and stuff like that. It is a flawed thing compared to the third game. But I do love the Luigi's Mansion games, and it's great to have this on it.
I've played it since GameCube, really.
Well, you the first one, right? Yeah. You've not played any of the others, have you? So,
no.
Yeah, well, they've come a long way, put it that way. That first game is really, really old and restrictive now.
Yeah.
That's it. That's where we're up to. Yeah. So what have you been playing? And you got any thoughts on what we've been doing? Let us know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. If you'd like to see more content like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It is gratefully appreciated. You can find us over at gbhbl.com, our full website where reviews, news and so much more goes up daily. We're also on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, at GBHBL. Just search for GBHBL and you will find us out there. We also have merchandise on sale. You can access the shop via the website.